So good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. After a rich day, I hope you perceive it like I perceive it. Yeah, I have the pleasure now to do the final part of this event today. My name is Strasser. I'm the head of Unit of Life Energy and Life Climate Unit in CINEA. You have heard already about CINEA, an executive agency of the European Commission. We call ourselves also the Green Deal Agency because the portfolio we have in CINEA is a portfolio of programs to be implemented with all support the European Green Deal, or if in other words, if you hear about a green project, you should think about CINEA. That is us. It's an honor now to be able to conclude another successful edition of the Covenant of Mayors Investment Forum, Energy Efficiency Finance Marketplace. So it's really great that this forum continues to be an unmissable gathering for those involved in accelerating and financing the clean energy transition in cities and regions all across Europe. We had today over 450 registrations, and we had here in these rooms roughly 200 participants coming here to Brussels. And I'm sure it's also for you one of the first, rare for the moment, rare events where we meet in presence in situ. So very happy to see you here. We are very happy to provide this forum to you, and happy and hope also that you have had the chance, in fact, to meet peers, to talk in different networking events and opportunities. And also I invite you to share a drink after this closing session, but that just in a couple of minutes. Before that, and before your applause, before that, we have two guest speakers here, which I want to give the floor now. First is Petya. She is the co-lead of the Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy Europe. And Petya, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Christian, and good afternoon to everyone. It has been a pleasure to spend the day today with you in the Covenant of Mayors Investment Forum, to hear so many inspiring stories and narratives about innovative action planning, about mobilizing finance and boosting solutions for energy efficiency. In these turbulent times that we live in, when we are facing the energy crisis, the insecurity of energy supply, these topics are becoming more and more relevant. And it is a great opportunity that we had this gathering today to discuss them. For years now, the Covenant of Mayors have been facilitating the process of planning for climate and energy implementation and action at the local level. We are working with over 10,000 municipalities across Europe, and I was very happy to hear that most of the presentations and projects today do rely on this process of systematic planning to address reduction of greenhouse emissions, increasing resilience, and alleviating energy poverty. Most recently, the Covenant of Mayors launched a campaign together with the European Commission, DG Energy, and the Committee of Regions, the Cities Energy Savings Sprint. You heard about it this morning, and it is exactly meaning to address the current situation and the energy crisis that cities are facing at the forefront. We are aiming to mobilize practices for addressing for energy savings and mobilizing these practices in support for cities. We also would like to offer a safe space for exchange and to tackle the challenges that cities face. But more than everything else, this initiative actually shows that we need to remain relevant. As initiatives, as projects, the support that we provide to cities needs to be relevant and tailored to take into account the realities on the ground and to provide services that really meet the needs of the cities that they have now. The fact that we heard so many projects today shows us that we are on the right path, that a lot of things are ongoing and underway. However, we know that there is need for systematic, comprehensive, and accelerated approach to address the climate and energy issues, and how to achieve this Of course, we spoke of the need to move from planning to implementation. And yes, implementation is important, but we also need to have our politicians on board, our local staff on board, and citizens. From a city's perspective, these are also very important elements as part of the solution. I will do no justice by making any comprehensive summary of today's rich discussions. I don't think it is a possible job, but then I will focus on a few of the messages that are coming across from the different projects presented today. We started the day with a project focusing on climate neutrality, how we can achieve it, although it's a very challenging and a difficult problem to tackle. But we heard from 7 cities in Europe who are developing transition roadmaps to phase out fossil fuels in their heating and cooling systems, and also to be independent on gas. We also heard successful stories about mobilizing cities in peer exchange and increasing their capacities. We know how important it is to cities to exchange, to learn from their peers what they are doing. The finding the right way to do those peers exchanges is crucial, and also addressing the need to reduce the reliability on subsidies. This is something that the Mayor of Gabrovo spoke about in her opening speech, but indeed the shift of the mindset towards more innovative and different funding solutions is an important pathway that today we have been really tackling. Getting citizens on board, I think it's no news, but it's crucial for cities so that the actions are really accepted by their citizens and a success. And here we heard from the city of Leuven on the pathway that they are taking to engage citizens in their nature-based solutions. The approaches towards co-creation, striving towards behavioral change and more systematic transition were also outlined by the Veneto Adapt project. Moving further to the strain on mobilizing sustainable investment. Here, interestingly, most of the cases started with a small investment, but in the heart of them, they had a very good idea. And walking the way, they managed to mobilize these different financial facilities and investments that help them to actually implement. We heard from the Prodesa project, which successfully launched a series of sustainable energy investments in 5 Greek municipalities, mobilizing over 21 million. And one asks themselves, how do they do this? How these successes turn into implemented projects? In this case, it was bundling fragmented municipal projects to achieve this bankability and scale. We discussed a lot today about the need to make projects bankable, and this is one of the examples. Similarly, the project Cities EU showcased that energy efficiency can be scaled up through the integration of citizens' financial schemes, and it was quite an interesting example that was coming through. And then maybe I will finish up with another topic that is not maybe that strongly addressed. That's the energy poverty component, one of the 3 pillars of the Covenant of Mayors. And through the projects coming in the stream of investment of residential and commercial buildings, we all know as citizens how important it is to increase our energy efficiency in the homes that we live, but we do face ourselves challenges in doing this. The support to homeowners that was explained through the Pro-Retro project, or the approach of one-stop shops in the Save the Homes project, renovating multi-family buildings, as we heard from COMACT. These are really important steps towards making our building stock renovated and really increasing the energy efficiency of every single home. By doing so, applying the just resilience and the just transition component and addressing energy poverty. I hope you take many more messages with you. This was just a snapshot. I made a humble attempt to capture some of our discussions, but I do realize this does no justice to the rich discussion we did have today. I also hope that you take home a lot of connections that you have made with your interactions and follow-ups. It's a crucial element of making stories success, to link, to build synergies, to work together, and to have these exchanges and make solutions practical. Just in the very final session, we discussed about this practical approach, the replicability, the sharing of examples. It is a small step, but does have an impact. And at the end, let me thank our dear hosts and organizers, the colleagues from CINEA, for making this event happen. Of course, to our presenters who shared their stories in a very comprehensive way, and I hope there is a way to capture all of these learnings. To our session moderators, and last but not least, to everyone who attended, and I hope you have spent your day and take home a lot of learnings, contacts, and yeah, ideas on how to work better. Yeah, so I hope I did not take too much of your time. I know everyone is tired. I am certainly. So thanks again. And Christian, back to you.
Thank you very much, Petya. Thank you very much for that. And for sure you did not. In fact, it's very clear. We have a second guest here. It's Hans van Steen from DG Energy, who's principal advisor in DG Energy, who will give us an update on the current energy policy framework.
Thank you very much, Christian. And good afternoon to all of you. It's a real pleasure and honor for me to be able to be here with you today and to close what I understand from Petya's summary has been a very rich discussion and lots of really important points made and that you've discussed during this day. Now, energy is, of course, as you know, the top of the European agenda right now. You cannot open a newspaper or watch a news channel without hearing about energy. And that is, I think, for very good reasons, because I think we're facing really the most serious challenges that we have faced for a long, long time. In energy, we're basically facing a triple challenge of dealing with the climate crisis, the very high energy prices, and to make sure that we actually have the energy that we need in a secure form, even for this very coming winter. And those challenges are really important because, as you all know, energy is really the lifeblood of the European way of life, of our economy. If we don't have energy, we are facing a really, really difficult time. If we have energy we cannot afford, it's the same thing. And if we're using the wrong type of energy or using it in an inefficient way, we are making climate change that we're already seeing today into catastrophic climate change. And that is a real risk that we're facing. The window of acting is closing, and it's closing soon. And for that reason, we all need to play our part. And I think the discussion that you're having here today on energy efficiency and how this can be financed at the local level, at the level of cities, is really critically important. I know you heard this morning my colleague Matthew Baldwin. I think he also explained a little bit about the current emergency that we are facing and that we're working on every day to try and solve. You may know that the Commission today adopted yet another emergency package of proposals that will be discussed later this week in the European Council. Proposals aimed at stabilizing the energy markets, lowering prices as far as possible, or at least dampening the price increases that we have been seeing. And of course, all this is being made so much worse by what is happening on Europe's borders in Ukraine, the aggression by Russia, and the impact that this has on our energy system. And this makes it so much more urgent to phase out fossil fuel, gas and oil and coal as quickly as possible. And that's why the Green Deal that, has been the leading light for this commission remains as important as ever. This has to be the main tool that we have at our disposal. The Fit for 55 package that the Commission has put on the table with all the proposals on energy efficiency, on renewables, on sustainable transport, and energy emission trading, and so on and so forth. All these proposals have to go through the system quickly in order to set the regulatory framework for dealing with these triple crises that I just mentioned. And for all of this, local and regional administrations are indispensable partners. They are really, you are really, at the level closest to the citizens. And we always say that the energy transition will not happen if we don't manage to empower the citizens, if we do not manage to get the citizens with us. And that's why the local level is so important. You're also the closest to the most vulnerable families, which due to the now roaring energy prices face very often a dilemma between spending their income on food or heating their homes. Now, this is quite frankly a choice which nobody should be forced to make at this point in time. And from the Commission side, this is really something that we need to deal with. And that is one of the reasons why we've made these series of emergency measures to try and avoid price increases that are really making it impossible for many households, not even talking about businesses and industries, which are also suffering to a very large extent from all of this. So this whole facet of crisis and challenges that we are facing, both for consumers and for local administrations, are really where we are seeing ourselves, the interface between the regional and local level, the member states, the governments. All of these have to play a really key and important part in all of that. Energy saving can help us immensely in this situation. Why? Because energy efficiency, when you manage to save energy, you have some immediate impact. A lot of the other things that we are trying to achieve, fuel switching, getting gas from other sources, getting maybe different types of gas than natural gas, all of this is not something that can happen overnight. What can happen overnight is if you are able to use energy more efficiently, save energy through simple changes often, for example, in behavior. And all of that is really, really very, very important. And that's why the revision of the Energy Efficiency Directive, that's part of the Fit for 55 package, is so important. That's why we are again and again stressing the famous, or I hope also for you, famous principle of energy efficiency first, because the first thing that we need to do is to make sure that we use energy much more efficient than we're doing today. We know, and I think that has been also one of the conclusions, as far as I heard from the previous speaker, that city administrations themselves also need support to help and fulfill this important role that they can play. And a lot of different instruments and tools in place, some of them put in place by us in the European Union, to help municipalities fulfilling this key role. Let me mention just a couple. The Energy Poverty Advisory Hub engages with cities to formulate and steer local processes to provide quality services for citizens who face the risk of energy poverty. In the first phase, 39 cities from 11 different countries are supported with tailored technical assistance to diagnose and design programs that target energy poverty. We have initiatives such as the Covenant of Mayors, the EU City Facility, the Smart Cities Marketplace. They will help with concrete support and peer learning offers, especially to the neediest cities. And with respect also to Ukrainian cities, they will enable the transfer of knowledge that is necessary for the reconstruction once the war is over. And as I said, energy savings here is really important because it offers some impact in the very, very short term. Also to mitigate energy poverty. That doesn't mean that we should not focus also on the slightly longer term energy efficiency measures. They are equally important, and as such, the financial incentives for immediate demand reduction should find ways to encourage that our immediate energy savings can be transformed into a permanent and sustainable demand reduction in the future. As I think it was underlined this morning, I wasn't here myself, but I was told that Vice President Östros from the EIB said that the EIB plays a key role in all of this because they also have a number of tools, especially the ELENA facility, which is really important in this context. Many successful projects have been funded under Horizon 2020 programs, in particular the Horizon 2020 Energy Efficiency Sub-Program and its successor. Also the LIFE program, and Christian is very much involved in all of that, as well as the 18 Horizon 2020 Smart Cities and Communities Lighthouse projects involving 120 cities across Europe. And I think a lot of these have been presented to you here today. These measures have to show solidarity with the most vulnerable, with the most gas-dependent European cities, and also with our friends in Ukraine. And they're beneficial for the climate and necessary for many cities for whom energy bills weigh heavily on their annual budgets. And we're currently looking into ways of extending this campaign, the so-called Cities Energy Savings Sprint that was also referred to, until 2023 for more tangible and useful examples and further inspiration as we move forward. And here again, the Covenant of Mayors is an indispensable partner. I will not speak much longer because Christian has already announced that there's a drink. And one thing I have learned is that when you speak in the closing session, that can become painful. So what I would like to say is that I would like, first of all, to thank you for coming here. I would like to thank CINEA for having organized this together with the Covenant of Mayors Office. Really, really very useful that we're able now again to meet physically after these years of meeting online. I think this is a different type of meeting that results from that. I would like to invite you to take today's insights and your inspiration back home to wherever you live, to your desk and your offices. And we are hopeful that this can really help us build on these examples of Europe's collected strengths and talent to meet our agreed goals in terms of the energy transition in particular. So let's deliver European towns and cities which are better, greener, and ultimately safer places to live. True examples for other towns and cities worldwide would be the ambition that we would like to achieve here. So thank you very much for your participation today, your interest and an active involvement. This is very much appreciated. And thank you very much for listening to me tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hans. Thanks, both of you, for your valuable contributions tonight. And also let me then draw to a close. The main goal of the forum is, in fact, to exchange and learn from peer to peer of successful and pioneering work is being done on that front. And this is precisely what the projects presented today and have shared with you. What we have seen today is only a glimpse of what is happening, of the great work many of practitioners are doing outside. We have seen 15 sessions today and very interesting sessions, and we are continuing that presentations in this forum as well in the past years as we do in the future. We want to tell you as well, I mean, if you want to stay tuned about more information of upcoming calls and funding opportunities, because at the end of the day, we are here in an investment forum and we are investing in your projects as well. So funding opportunities are coming up, but to have an information, regular information about that, subscribe to the CINEA Clean Energy newsletter. The CINEA Clean Energy newsletter is not only about Life and Horizon, it covers 8 funding programs and all of that is supporting sustainable energy projects. And then at the end, I also want to tell you, watch out the live calls for proposals. There is one, the Live Clean Energy Transition Call, which is still open until the 16th of November. So more or less 1 month to go. So to complete, prepare is a bit short maybe, but to complete, in fact, your ideas and turn them into a live call application. And also for next year, I can already announce in April 2023, we will launch our annual call for proposals, the annual live call, including the sub-programs, of course, clean energy transition, but also climate change mitigation and climate change adaptation programs. We look forward to your ideas and your proposals, because all what we see today in the projects you have presented, in fact, came out of an idea which was born somewhere, where somebody reflected about something, came up with an idea, set up an application, and was at the end of the day selected. That leaves me now wishing you a safe journey home, and we hope to meet again in the next edition of the Covenant of Mayors Investment Forum. We invite you now, as I said already before, to a network drink outside this room to give you the right setting to continue and deepen the discussion and which started during the day. Thank you for coming. Thank you in particular for your appreciated participation, and see you outside. Thank you very much. Good.